When I was about 10 years old, we had an early model of the Mac computer, and it had an interesting design flaw. What had happened was that the only way to eject a disk out of the disk drive was through the operating system. You had to click on the Apple icon and select eject disk. Didn't seem like a problem until one day. I had a disk in the disk drive and I was doing something on the computer when the power went out. And power eventually came back. And when I turned on the computer, it said I had a non-system disk and it couldn't boot up with the non-system disk. The problem was that without the operating system, I couldn't get the disk out. And so, if I remember correctly, I ended up using a screwdriver to jam the disk just a little bit above the disk drive, just so that the computer wouldn't think it was in there, so I can get the computer on, and then I could eject the disk. I remember in the process of it damaged the door to the disk drive. It made it very difficult to put the disk in and out of after that. Um, I wish that I could say that was the only port design I've ever seen, but it seems like ever since then, the port designs have really exploded exponentially since then. Uh, One thing I always cringe about is any sort of autocorrect or anytime the computer thinks it's smarter than you, right? I do a lot of technical writing, and oftentimes equations have a series of characters that look like they could be a misspelled word. I deal with a lot of people from other countries. Sometimes names from other countries look like they could be a misspelled English word, and the computer just wants to correct it. It's really frustrating. You would think that after a few times of typing the misspelled word, the computer would stop doing it. Sometimes it's not very obvious how to turn off the autocorrect, or even just to undo a recently auto-corrected word, right? Um, Another thing that I run into regularly, where the computer seems to think it's smarter than you, is I don't know why this one has really grown exponentially over the years. Any sort of browser that wants to reopen previously opened windows, right? I do a lot of machine learning on my computer, and it's not unusual for something to freeze, or I miswrote something into an infinite loop and I got to reboot the computer, right? So I hard reboot the computer. I might have had browsers open, and now next time I open Edge or Chrome or something else, all of a sudden 20 windows open, right? It's very difficult to close, so sometimes I let them sit, and then the next time that happens, it's 40 windows, right? And eventually, it's insurmountable, right? It's so many windows that trying to close them would just cause more problems, right? Because it takes a lot of memories to close windows, right? Um, Many years ago, I had a bank account and a credit card with the same bank, and I had online banking, obviously. And I ran into this frustration. I went to pay the credit card bill, and on the page, it there's a click a button for pay your bill, and then you could enter how much you wanted to pay. You would think they would have buttons for the common amounts, right? The full balance, the minimum payment, or maybe the last payment that you made, or something like that. But they don't. They just have a box for you to enter an amount for you to pay. Okay, that's the first design problem there. The second problem is, and this one's even funnier, when you click pay your bill, the window for how much you're gonna pay pops up, and it blocks out all the information on your bill, your minimum payments, your balance, everything. And your instinct is to click the back button on the browser, right? You click back, and it causes the whole window to crash, right? Because it says that it doesn't have your information anymore. And then you got to re-log into the bank account. And to make things funny, when you re-log in, sometimes it thinks it's not you anymore because of how quickly you just logged in 5 minutes ago, and it thinks you might have been hacked. You got to confirm your information. It sends you an email or it sends you a text message. Could you confirm yourself and all that? And I had a few months of doing that, and then finally I got so fed up that I called the bank or maybe I wrote like feedback or something like that to inform them. And I got a very generic response that you know, they'll let their research department know. They have a department that researches how consumers like their browsers to behave and such and such. But I think there's an ulterior motive for all that. Perhaps they want you to miss your payment and then charge you a late fee or charge you interest, or make it so frustrating that you miss your payment, right? I don't know. It doesn't take much, right? If 1% of people miss their payment and get charged a fee, uh, I don't know. Nobody's going to close their credit card because of a hitch with making the payment. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, People have very funny preferences in the country, which is what allows a lot of this stuff to work, right? Right now, I'm recording this during the throes of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a lot of inflation. One thing I really hate about how inflation plays out is that when you go to the grocery store, instead of prices honestly going up, they sometimes make the packages smaller, or more egregiously, they lower the quality of the ingredients, right? What used to be naturally sweetened now has artificial sweeteners in it, or sugar instead of natural substance in it, and which is a shame, because oftentimes I'm willing to pay the inflated price, whatever it was, right? Or in terms of the packages getting smaller, you know, if the price of something is going up and you make the packages smaller, so now you need more packages of whatever it is that you're buying, now the price has gone up even more because you're wasting packaging, right? So the fact that your neighbors are dumb enough to believe some of these tricks, you have to pay the price for that sometimes, right? It just goes to show, right? But Another design flaw. Well, I don't know. This is a design flaw. This is something that where the status quo has to readjust. One time I was traveling to another country, and I had a calling card for calling out of the country. I had to call the phone number for the calling card, and then I had to enter a password, and then I had to enter the phone number I was calling, right? So 3 different sets of digits, and all of them were quite long, right? Because the phone number was an international phone number. Okay, I had a really frustrating time one time trying to call somebody, because I would misdial something. I have to restart the whole sequence all over again, right? You would think you could have a backspace button on modern phone menus, right? For example, it's not even just your calling card, right? If you call your utility company or your credit card company, or you buy something with a credit card and you misdial one of the 16 digits of your credit card number, you would imagine you could press maybe star for backspace. I actually tested this on quite a number of menus, and I've never seen it work on anything. The problem is that obviously, if your credit card company has to say, please enter your social security number, you can use the star button as a backspace. It would waste 5 or 10 seconds, and for the most part, on average, it might not save anybody time, right? So somebody has to jump that curve into the program, right? Eventually, if 99% of companies are using it, it becomes very second nature. Nobody has to announce it. It's kind of like pressing 0 for a representative, right? Nobody has to announce doing that, right? It's part of the status quo, right? Okay, finally, and this one's a more recent invention, and I cannot seem to turn it off. On YouTube, it used to be I could watch a video and read through my notifications. You click the bell and you can click on each notification to read a recent comment, a recent reply, or you see a thumbs up and you want to, and it might have been a very old comment, you want to read what the fuck you wrote that got the thumbs up, right? The problem is, sometime around a year or 2 ago, I can't remember the exact date, YouTube decided in all its wisdom, now it should pause the video when you read your notifications. Come on, if I needed to pause videos to read notifications, I would pause the video. It's a single tap of the mouse button, right? For some reason, YouTube has decided that it's smarter than me, right? Oh, I wish at least you could turn this off in the settings somewhere. I looked up everywhere. I can't even get anybody to acknowledge this problem. I just Googled YouTube pauses when I read the notification or anything like that. I can't seem to find it. Anyways, uh, I really despise when technology wants to think it's smarter than me. It's not. If I wanted some of these settings, I would easily set them up, right? Thanks for watching.